So today we're going to do a really cool topic, but we have to always start off with like my house warnings, okay? So like I have roommates and people like to like walk around the house. My dog looks to be a hot mess. He's a nice dog in his heart, but he thinks he's a pit bull on the outside. So you might hear some of that. So if I have to like cut things because of my home environment, spare with me, please, because it's going to be a really, really cool topic. What I really want to cover is like, I did like a poll on my Instagram and I was like, do you guys want me to do like something in business or like self-discovery pretty much? And everybody was like, hey, we want to do self-discovery. So here we are. So we're going to talk about the beauty in selfishness. This was the toughest lesson I had to learn. I'm not going to lie. I love people like at their core. I mean, you might not think that about me of how I kind of present myself sometimes, but I really do love people. I love collaborating. I love just working with others and just seeing like how the power of people together can build something bigger than what we are. But, I got burnt a couple billion times, and I'm pretty sure that's something that you guys identify with too. It's just really hard to be selfless, you know. And I think I had to strike a balance. But in order for me to strike a balance, is because I was so far right in selflessness that coming to selfish was really difficult for me. And for a couple of reasons, I learned like astrology was helping me unfold some of that hidden power and different other stuff, but we're not going to go there. We're going to stay on topic. So just to give you guys an idea, because I know when people are like, oh, selfish is so bad, and, you know, we don't want to use that term, or it has a bad connotation. So I'm on Zoom right now. I'm just going to like do some of this share action right now, and we're going to do like a whole big Google search. So if you're on Google, it's selfish right here, right? And it's like saying that lacking consideration for others. That's one fold of it. So that's like what most people identify it with is lack of consideration for others. But the other part is concerned chiefly with one's own personal profit or pet pleasure. And this is the part I like to focus on here, right here. That's the part that I think we all need to focus on. And why do I say that, right? It's because when you focus on yourself, then it forces the other person to make the best decision for themselves. And then in turn, you guys are both making a decision together that is beneficial for both parties. Like, hold on a second. I'm having the most difficult time. This is my first time recording on Zoom, but I use Zoom like all the freaking time. You guys are seeing all kinds of angles right here. Give me a sec to get back to my beautiful face that's over here. Boom. Awesome. I figured that out. So back to what I'm saying is like being selfish is not a bad thing. It's actually a really, really good thing. And it allows other people to do the same for themselves. So we're programmed overall, and I wrote some really good notes before jumping in here, but we're programmed. I think the biggest note I wrote here in my notes is like, we are programmed to be scared of this philosophy because of our fear to get to know ourselves. That's like what I wrote down. And I think it's true. It's like, if you can pick apart the flaws of other people, then you're like, don't have to worry about yourself. Or you can criticize somebody else, then you don't have to worry about yourself, right? The hardest part is like saying like, damn, I'm really bad at this. Or like, wow, I'm really good at this, right? So like, my personal opinion is that you actually help others by taking care of yourself. And learning how to be in an interdependent relationship. And that was a new term I had to learn too, because I had all these like codependent relationships. What that means is like everything is reactive, active on one another. So, you know, if this person doesn't do this, then I don't do this. And if this person doesn't do this, then they don't do that. And it's just like this weird commingling that nobody wants to be a part of. And interdependent relationships is where both partners like, and I have a cool definition that I found offline, but it says where both partners are mutually reliant on each other, but they maintain their own identity. And that's the really cool part. So it's like, I can depend on you, but I can be authentic to myself at the same time. So that's my spill on, like, if you think this might be a journey for you, like, if you're dealing with, you're struggling with being unhappy, or you're struggling with not getting to know yourself, like, trying a pill of selfishness might be the answer. I know it sounds really, really weird, and you might not want to tell your friends, or you might not want to tell your mom that, like, hey, I'm practicing selfishness, but it's something that might yield really, really good results. So I came up with really 5 tips that help me on this self-discovery journey that might help you on your self-discovery journey. And the first one is building on your strengths. I meet so many people that, like, pick upon, like, they always focus on what's not happening. They're always focused on what they don't have. They're always focusing on what's not here. And it's like, how about if that thing that everyone keeps telling you that you're really, really amazing at, that you took the time to explore? One of the really tools that I'm a big believer in is Clifton Strengths, because it really like brings to the surface some things that you might not even know that you're good at, or you're like, hey, I knew that was something that I had, but I couldn't put a word to it. So, like, Clifton Strengths is a really good resource in trying to identify your strengths. And once you know your strengths, like, you need to tell people, like, hey, I'm not good at that. Like, hey, that's cute that you asked me to do that, but I don't want to do that, or that doesn't work for me. Because not only are you releasing yourself from being bound to something to make someone else happy, then they're getting the liberty and the freedom to find someone else that actually wants to do that task. And this is not dependent on, like, money or resources or anything. This is literally like finding the right people in the right places. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure that there's some people in the world that would love me to come organize their thoughts and make a task list and plan it all out for them to take action. And they could probably teach me a thing or two. And that's called, like, a great trade, right? And so we're both being beneficial to one another, but we're not spending, like, $1, So it's more of just, like, knowing your strengths and being very firm in them, and then just kind of, like, making it a non-negotiable. Like, I'm not going to do that. And I know sometimes there has to be sacrifices that have to be made, but, like, for the most part, 98%, you're not doing that. And then the other thing is, like, releasing your expectations of others. That was a huge one for me. What do I mean by that? You always be like, if someone promises that they're going to do something, or you think this person is supposed to do something for you, and they don't come through, and you are just, like, 98 high, like, pissed that didn't happen. Or if things don't come out the way that you anticipated it. So you felt that, like, this was the outcome that it was supposed to have. Now you're, like, angry. Just releasing the expectation overall. I already hear, like, noises, guys, coming from the outside. So you might hear Cujo the dog going off and a bunch of noises. If that's the case, I'm gonna, like, cut and keep going. But overall, like, just releasing that expectation of others, letting it go. The only thing that you can expect is expect things from yourself. That's the only expectation that you should be setting. Don't depend on others. And then when people are do things for you, just really show gratitude. Like, thank you so much. I mean, the smallest things. Like, thank you for opening the door. Thank you for buying my lunch. Like, just show gratitude for the things that are happening, but don't expect anything. And then when you don't expect anything, like, the smallest things become magical, right? The third thing that's really cool that I like to do is, like, identifying your core essence. So what I mean by that is, like, identifying, like, unlock your gifts. You know what I mean? Like, know what makes you unique, what makes you beautiful. Like, really start unfolding that through whatever resources float your boat. For me, like, astrology was one for me. So learning my sun, moon, and rising signs helped me identify what I need every day. Like, my sun, I'm a Pisces, y'all. So I need to be by myself. I take up all y'all energy, and I just need to go home and, like, chill, right? And then my rising too is y'all see me as a Pisces, and then I have to take in all that shit. I need my alone time. Like, my solar self, I need, like, a block of time. Like, I need to shut down and go to sleep. So one thing, like a lot of people know about me, is at 6:00 Eastern time, just in case we're in different time zones, like 6:00 Eastern time, where I'm done. I'm usually, like, clocked out detoxing, going into my spiritual space. Like that's what I need to recharge, to be the best for others, right? And I'm not saying every time I do that every day, but it's a big thing that I'm working on. Like it's just being able to block out that time for me to just do nothing and to just like not be around anything, that just being in my own aura, right? And then for me too, knowing I'm a Gemini moon, I like to do all the things. So, I like to study and be social and like, and I do that between the hours of 9 to 6, right? So I'm like getting to know people and studying and putting things together, and I'm witty, I'm very smart and all these other things. So I'm the type of girl that's going to have like 5 things on her agenda and knock them all out like gracefully. That's me. But then I also realized that I'm taking in a lot of energy throughout the day, so I need to rest. So that's a part of my core essence. I build that into my schedule. I build that into my day-to-day living. But it might be different for someone else. Another big resource I use is BG5, which is an extension of human design. So like if you guys ever want to like DM me on Instagram to help with some of those tools, I'm definitely a resource. But that's what I do. That's my way of identifying my core essence. There's a lot of assessment tools, Enneagram. There's so many different things that you can start learning yourself through. And I think you have to find the outlet that works for you. Or even like identifying someone that you really admire and asking them like, how did you find yourself? How did you get there? And then using the tools that they recommend to you. So that's the third tip. 2 more to go. The second one is the power of no. Just say no, right? So it's like, this good urge that you want to say yes to everything or you don't want to be left out, or you don't want to know how they're going to react to you, or what they're like, what's going to happen next if you say no. You can't care. You have to just be like, no, that doesn't work for me. And whatever the repercussion is, just know you're doing the best thing for yourself. It's really hard practice. You might need to learn how you make decisions. That's another thing that BG5 and human design, which is kind of tells you, like, it's like a map of your aura, gives to you. But learning to say no and saying no to the right things. And if you don't feel good about it, it's okay. Period. And, I'm so mad. Like I literally I planned to make my tea because I knew I was going to be like, I'm going to want some tea when I do this video, and look, no tea. 0 tea. But after the video, I'm going to get tea. Okay, so the last thing is like be boundary driven. What does that mean? Like, okay, all those negative things that happen to you every day that you're really pissed about, that you feel like you can't control, like someone runs you over, or not runs you over, someone like cuts you off on the road, or the things that you don't like analyze those things in your life and turn them into things that could possibly be boundaries, or start to learn like your likes and dislikes, right? So like maybe if you leave a little earlier and before you have to go to work, or you have like a morning ritual routine before you have to go to work, like maybe you won't get cut off because maybe you're moving slower, maybe you're more aligned, right? So it's just creating these boundaries of like what people have to follow about you. And it's not something that's going to happen overnight. But over time, like the things that you don't like, start thinking like these are opportunities for growth, and then transfer them to like boundaries if it's something that you really can't stand, So, like one of my boundaries is like I have to be able to be me in every environment. And if I can't be me in every environment, then I just don't need to be here. Like I don't care if I'm like, I don't care where I'm at. Like if I can't be me in my entirety, then we can just cancel the whole thing. So those are like the tips that, like, as a recap, those are the 5 things that I always do to kind of like, or that was the 5 things I did to start my journey of selfishness. So kind of like building on my strengths. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but build on your strengths and delegate your weaknesses. I think I did say that. Releasing expectations of others. Identifying your core essence, the things that you need, your gifts, your uniqueness, learning to say no. And the last one is being boundary driven. So saying like, here are my limits. So I hope this helped. I was thinking of doing a live on Instagram, like kind of helping people with the core identity in regards to your sun, moon, and rising sign. So if you guys are interested in that, just leave me comments below and I'll make that happen. But yeah, so I hope this is helpful. And you guys give me feedback on how you feel, and I'll keep doing these videos. And if you don't even like these videos, I'm going to keep doing these videos because that's called boundaries, right? So, tell me how you guys feel, and I'll keep this moving. So again, learn the beauty of selfishness.